What's up, everybody? We are here actually under both monikers, Transcendent Culture and UG Digital Magazine. I am so elated today, super excited. I have been sitting for a week now, contemplating and just thinking about what am I going to say, what am I going to ask. I am sitting here with none other than the amazing Shirley Jones of Shirley Jones and the Jones Girls. And it's interesting because most people who I spoke to, they knew exactly who I was talking about. But then you have, a lot of the younger people who are like, who?
Who's
But
that? Who's
right.
that?
Then when you start mentioning different songs, Escape with Who Can I Run To?
Oh yeah, all the
Um,
time. The Jones Girls, that's not their song. Yes, it is. I let them know. Yes, it is.
right. And then you have You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else. I mean, amazing record. And then you have Nights Over Egypt. I am a huge fan of Faith Evans, so I can tell you, like, that's one, she used that for one of the songs on one of her
Right,
most
she
recent
did.
albums.
Yeah, yeah,
And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, there's the connection right there.
yeah.
But so many other songs though. It just put me in a place of excitement. So I'm very thrilled to have you. I'm very grateful for you and your time because I know, just as you said, you are all over the place and doing tons of interviews. But I think that speaks to not just who you are, but what you do and the value and the product that you put out here to everybody. So thank you so much for coming onto the platform.
It's my pleasure.
So kind of I really want you to take us back to the beginning. Like, obviously, stand up Philly because you come from Philadelphia. Um, you
No,
know,
we
you know.
don't. We're actually from Detroit.
Oh, I thought I saw Philly somewhere. As soon as I saw it,
Philly
but
International, Philly International
yeah,
Records. That
okay,
We,
okay,
we
okay.
recorded for them in our first record. In fact, I'm celebrating 45 years
Wow,
of since that first Jones Girls album that contained "You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else" and "Who
right,
Can I Run To." Since that album came out, but no, we're born and raised in Detroit, Motor City,
got
Motown,
okay.
and
So
West Side.
Detroit,
Yeah,
and
West Side. Just in case we got some Detroiters on there. Yeah, and we started
I'm still
singing
around.
background behind our mother. My
Right,
mother, yeah, she was the first Black gospel singer that RCA Records ever signed. Very popular back in the day in that Detroit, in the Michigan, Ohio region. So we started out singing background behind her, running into groups like the Winans and the Clark sisters back in the day. So that's how we started.
what was that like? Obviously growing up and knowing that your mom was this huge gospel singer.
Oh, it was great. We stayed in church a lot.
Right.
uh, I mean, and because she was also choir director for our home church, Russell Street Baptist in Detroit.
Okay.
So we were in church a lot. Got a really, really uh, good foundation as to the Lord and where our blessings come from. So,
Absolutely.
and that's something that is every day present in my life.
Absolutely. Um, it sounds like it would be so amazing. Obviously, you and your sisters, you get that foundation from your mother. Like, when was it that you actually realized that, okay, we have something, and like we really can become a group?
Probably around 12 or 13. Some people from Motown approached my mom after following us and hearing us on. They used to have a lot of gospel TV shows in the Detroit area, and we did this particular one rather frequently with my mom. And I guess some people from Motown, McKinley Jackson, Holland Dozier Holland, they saw us on one of these, and they're like, wow, those young girls have incredible harmonies that my mom had, nurtured and
Yeah.
trained. So they came to her and asked her, could we do some background for some of their artists. They Holland Dozier Holland, of course, did a lot of the Supremes and Temptations stuff,
Right.
and they eventually got their own label, Music Merchant. And that's when I think I was 12, maybe 13 or 14. But they approached her and asked her, could we start doing some background work for them, for some of their artists like Frida Payne. They had uh, General Johnson and chairman of the board. And I think they had Honeycomb. And my mom reluctantly, after a lot of begging and pleading,
And that was actually going to be part of my question. I'll let you finish that.
yeah, after a lot of begging and pleading, she reluctantly said, "Okay, but I have to be there." So, for
Which,
every session up until I was 18 or 19 years old, and we started going to California, for every session up until that time, she would be sitting there in the corner with her Bible, looking at everybody just to make sure we were fine and that none of those guys were trying to hit on us, and
right. But
because
we see even
we
more
were
in current,
minors.
yeah, we
Mhm.
see even more in current day and current time that that's a beautiful thing, for your parents to actually be there.
Oh,
While
she was insistent on that because we
yeah,
were her girls, and she knew, what she had. Because she had trained us. I give all credit to our harmonies, to my mom, who really taught us, me and Brenda and Valerie, how to perfectly blend. She would always say, Shirley, you need to come down a little bit on that part, or Brenda, you need to come, up some. Until the point where she used to always tell us, you always make sure your harmonies are so tight that you cannot even cut it with a butter knife.
right.
And that's what we practiced and rehearsed and practiced and rehearsed to get that sound.
Yeah. It's something about seeing, people come into the industry and their family or their parents are like completely behind like the total product, just in terms of even like the vocals and the harmonizing and that sort of thing. And it really puts me in mind, if I think of artists today, it puts me in mind of the Braxtons. It puts me in mind of the Brandys and Ray J's because their parents were so instrumental, and I know their dad does pretty much all of their vocal coaching and that sort of thing. But
Right.
I think it's amazing though. And you speaking on your mom being there, that actually was going to be part of my question, because the first thing, a lot of times, current day, when, people are seeking children and they're seeking minors to be in the industry, there's often a lot of reluctance in terms of doing that, just because of where we know the industry is, and, just people that we know are out there. Was there that fear in, back in that day, with getting into the music industry, just in terms of letting children, become a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, my mom's thing was she really wanted us to stay in the gospel realm. But once we started doing background for Frida Payne and all
Yeah.
those different people, we're like, well, hey, wait a minute now. We love gospel. We really love gospel, Mom. But
Right.
especially when they asked her, these girls, they, rightfully, we wrote one of their writers had written this song, it's your love that controls me. And they said, let's just try it on them, and she said, okay. And it was a local hit. I mean, we recorded it, and it was a local hit. And then they, wanted to do a couple more, and then Curtis Mayfield heard us, and then we went into Chicago and, started doing some things with him.
Because
Uh,
you guys were actually signed to his label, right?
Yes, we were. We signed to
Okay.
his label, did several. In fact, there's one CD out there, and I have a copy of it, and it's the Jones Girls, The Early Years. And that CD, I think somebody gave it to me when I was in London. I didn't even know it existed. And it has the most in depth, biography of us that I've seen up to even up to this day. and you can open it and read it. And I was reading some stuff, and I'm like, now, how did they know this? How did they, you know? That's just how in depth
Right.
this particular is, and it has all the songs from the early years, starting with Music Merchant, and then on to Curtis Mayfield.
Okay. No, I think that's amazing, and it's funny you talk about that because I miss the fold outs that you used to get with,
I
all
do
of
too, yeah,
I
with an
miss a lot.
album or even a CD, even CDs. But now you have you can stream, but streaming they just give you a little. They can only because of space you can only get so much, and now
Right.
they have they where you can even put your music on these sticks on these thumb drives, and then they're just nothing. And I've always been a big fan, I guess, from growing up. I just like to know who the writers are, who the musicians are uh, on songs. So I miss that. I really miss
Same
that
here. I
too.
mean, that's to be perfectly honest with you, that's how I learned about, a lot of artists and musicians who came before me was reading those credits and then
Yeah.
actually being able to go back and look up music and things like
Yeah,
that. So
and
yeah,
that's one of
definitely.
the reasons why when I created the latest t-shirts that I sell at my shows, on the whole the front of course is all of the albums that we did, and
Right.
then on the back I created a QR code. So if you scan that QR code, the Jones Girls history is going to come up, and it's going to direct you to the different Spotify, Pandora's, so that you can listen to the music as well.
I, I I love the fact that you have tapped into, obviously modern technology
Oh yeah.
just because of
Even on the new CD, I have CDs made up that I sell at the shows too for the new record,
yeah.
for the tribute album. That there's a QR code, and you scan that code right up there in the corner, and it's gonna tell you our history, our biographies there, and everything.
So kind of looking at, some of these hits that I mentioned in the very beginning that, obviously people, and I mean, we can look at, I see
The one
Cam
I'm
over
celebrating 45 years for.
um,
Yeah.
what was that like to have this girl group come to you, obviously, and want to sample that song and then it becomes this major hit? Like I was in probably my first or second year of college when that came out. So I mean that's like
Well, that
95.
had because theirs came out in 1995.
Okay, yeah, 95. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first year
Yeah.
of college.
Well,
So here
we
we are 30 years later.
yeah.
And I mean I just covered the show with them in Columbus back in December. And
Mhm.
I mean, obviously they sound just as beautiful now as then, but then it takes you right back to the original. Like, what is that like
Well,
to hear
the
that song?
between 1979 and 1995, we're talking what 16 years or so.
Yeah,
Because the song was written for us by three guys: Charlie Boy, Simmons, Frank Austin, and Richard Roebuck, and they wrote that song. The moment we heard it, we loved that song, especially me. And I tell people now in my show, I just did the first of many celebration shows here in Atlanta at Backstage on Sunday. And I tell everybody that that happens to be my favorite Jones Girl song. And I did not know that they were doing it. I heard it just like everybody else. But the
okay,
good thing was back in the day when that record came out, so many DJs knew us from back in the day. And they
right.
used to do the comparison thing like, we're getting ready to play this record by this group Escape. And then they play theirs and then they say, but now, do you know who actually did it first? We're getting ready to play the original. So, what that did was it brought a lot of attention
Absolutely.
back to the Jones Girls, because it was a 16-year difference, between us doing it and them. And a couple of times I've run into the girls, and in fact, they surprised me on a radio show interview several years back. And they were like, "Oh, what did you think of our version?" What I said, "You guys did a great job." I said, "You, especially because it brought so much attention back to my sisters and I that really weren't. I don't even think we were singing together anymore in 1995.
Right.
So we had kind of broken up at that time. And so it that was a good feeling, for people to say, wow, Escape just shouted y'all out, for Who Can I Run To? So it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. I love their cover of it.
Yeah. And
But
I
it's
mean, it's
not their song. I want the young people to know it's not their song. It was first
absolutely,
performed and written
absolutely,
for me and my sisters.
absolutely. Um, you ladies did an amazing job, not only with that song, but with all of the music that you put out there. So, what do you feel took you ladies to the place of kind of separating and going your separate ways?
Everybody had, everybody had different. After a period of time, we all kind of were not on the same page as to the direction where we should go as a group.
Right.
Brenda had already had her daughter and she was looking to get married. Valerie had never experienced college and she wanted that experience where Brenda and I both had that. And so we kind of, and then issues, of boyfriends and stuff getting involved and us just we just weren't on the same page like we were when we were really really happening as a group. And that's when I decided, well, it's time for us to just separate for a while. And
Right.
that's what we did back in 19 about around the late 80s. Around 1984 is actually when we really completely split up. And Kenny Gamble contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a solo project. And I was like, yeah, because I had gotten into the
Like, like were you immediately sold on it right then? Like, okay, yeah, let's.
absolutely, because I had gotten into after we broke up, I had just gotten into the workplace.
Okay.
So I went and just got a regular good paying job, but I was working. And when he called me and he asked me, uh and I mean it was the immediate, oh absolutely. So he said, well, let's get the business taken care of, meaning the contracts with my attorney and everything. And next thing you knew, I was there, flown there, like to Philadelphia, like we always did. They would fly us in for 3 months at a time, because back in the day, you would be there from the beginning of the project through the whole concept of the photographs, how the album,
Yeah.
what the concept for the album cover, because covers were so big and important in
Oh
that
yeah.
back in the day. And I have to say, they created some beautiful beautiful album covers for
Yeah.
us. So we
They really should be just as important today, but a lot of times they really are.
I know. I think that's one of the reasons why now I go into such detail when I'm shooting my album cover.
Right.
Like the one for this one here. I was telling the photographer, I said, I really want Brenda and Valerie, because it's a tribute to them. I need them kind of superimposed on that album. And then I decided that very first album cover was bronze. It wasn't black and white or color, it
Okay.
was bronze. The Jones Girls,
Right.
our first album. And so that's what I told the photographer when she shot me with Holding the Roses. I said, let's try black and, pulling it back and just having it black and white and the rose is red,
Right.
And so that I think I spend so much time on my covers because of where the back in the day, what we did
Yeah.
back in the day.
It's definitely a beautiful cover. Just thinking or listening to you and then speaking of just the way things were and how meticulous you were, in the process of putting things together. What do you miss most about that time? Because when you really think about, the industry back then, and then you speaking on the fact that you would be there from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, like there was so much involved. Like when you think of like the artist development,
Oh
and the
yeah.
media training and all of that
Record
stuff.
labels,
And
yeah, they were very into the
most,
artist
yeah,
development. And
and most artists, they're not getting that today anymore.
oh no,
Um,
they're just signing these people nowadays, because of how they look, because they definitely aren't signing them because of how they sound, because
Absolutely.
most of them have to be auto pitched, auto tuned up, and all of that, which is amazing when there's so many artists out there that actually have real talent. But they're a lot of the well, the industry's not like it is, because most people like myself now, you kind of create your own label and do your own thing, because the money, the artist development, none of that stuff is there anymore, because it's all about streaming now and social media.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Um, what do you think was like? I guess like essentially, what do you miss about that time when you think of the way that the industry runs and everything moves today? Like, what do you think was really good back then that they don't really do now?
the artist development, the monies, the marketing that they used to put behind oh
Right.
God, I miss that.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing everything myself now on my
Yeah.
dime, and
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's quite costly. I want to tell you, it's costly.
Listen, hey, I could tell you some stories, even
Yeah.
just in terms of pushing these media platforms and the marketing and the
Oh
promotions that.
man, that is so important, and it's so
Yeah.
expensive. And I
Absolutely.
sure miss having that label doing all of that for
Yeah.
me. I
Absolutely.
truly miss that.
Um, so I want to get into reflections in loving memory.
Mhm.
Um, what took you to that place of putting this project together? I mean, I think 10 amazing tracks. Again, I can't seem to get past number six, when you
Oh,
love somebody. But
yeah. Well, you got to, because the one right number 7 is going to be the next
oh,
single
fantasize.
after "Baby Don't Go Yet," "Fantasize," and then of course
Okay.
the title track, which Valerie's son and I wrote. That song is amazing. But what really made me decide to do I had did an album back in 2011 called "Feels Like Heaven."
Right.
Uh, and then I think around 2016, I did one all independent, called "My Time to Shine," which is on this album, the title track from that. Um, but when Brenda was tragically killed in 2017, 2 months before I was due to do Essence, Mary J. Blige had her first um, woman woman's show,
Yeah.
where she had all the people. Oh, she had all the people that influenced her. She had
Yeah. I was
invited.
there that year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Brenda was coming because Diana Ross was there the night before, and we had talked, and she had said, it'd be nice for us, because we hadn't seen Diana in years, because we were her backup singers,
Right.
and she said it would really be nice if we go and see her. And I told her, I said, and then Saturday night when I'm performing, I'm gonna pull you up on stage and you gonna sing again. And she said, okay, I guess I'll be ready. But tragically, uh, God had other plans, and she was killed April 3rd of that year, and that devastated me because of the
Mhm.
way she was killed, hit by 3 cars. That I don't know. It's still hard for me to believe when you
I'm
think
sure.
about, your sister being hit by 3 cars, to the point where they would not let us see anything.
Mm.
They said psychologically there was really nothing there uh, to see. So um, it made me, and it just, and I had been wanting to do something, because I wasn't singing with them. I've always been out, kind of, keeping the legacy alive. But once she was killed, I'm like, wow, I really gotta do something now, to keep it going. Uh, so that's when I started saying, I said, I gotta do something
Right.
to honor my sisters. And I started writing, and I wrote, because 5 of the 10 songs on the album I wrote or co-wrote and produced. So, but it all came from her death.
Right. What gets you, what gets you to that place of healing? I mean, obviously, you have to move forward and you have to go on, and life goes on, and that sort of thing. But I mean, that it has to be beyond devastating. Like I just think of, and I mean, it's just my sister and I, but I think of, I don't know what I would do if something happened to her. I mean, let alone it being something that tragic.
Right.
Um, what and you know, obviously you have faith and you have God and you have that sort of thing in your background, but it's still difficult though. Like,
Whew.
what gets you to that place of healing? You know, to not only moving on, but really being able to continue working with music and obviously
Performing.
start her life.
Performing does it for me. I tell my audiences all the time that when they're smiling and applauding and telling me how much they enjoy the show and how much our music make them feel good, I tell them, you're just your smiles, uh and you're congratulating me and all of those things. That's what keeps me going,
Absolutely.
because that's my therapy. It truly is.
Yeah.
Every time I'm singing those songs that my sisters and I um, left here before the world to hear, it's my therapy. I just love singing those songs because I see them, I feel them when I'm on stage.
Yeah. Now, will we see you actually go out and do shows and tour for for the project that's coming out?
Oh, absolutely. I like I said, I just did Atlanta
Okay. I'm
Sunday
there.
night, and
Okay.
I'm doing I think it's is it Jackson, Mississippi, uh the towards the end of March. April I'm in the UK. May I'm at Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City. I'm in Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and then the end of May I'm in Portugal. June
Okay.
I'm at the Capital City Jazz Festival in
Okay.
DC,
Okay.
and then back here to Atlanta, and on and on and on. Oh yeah, I'm working. I told you that's my therapy. I gotta keep
Right.
working.
Now somehow, somewhere in the mix there, we have to get you to Cleveland, which it seems like Cleveland never makes anybody's list. So
And it's funny because my relatives are there in Cleveland, the
okay.
Frasers, yeah. And we used to ride up to Cleveland all the time to see them. And when the OJs, when actually our very first show, we shot it. We rehearsed and practiced and everything because the OJs were living there.
Right.
And so Kenny flew us there. We were there for a good month. And as kids, we used to love it when my mom would say, "We're going to visit my her cousin." And
Okay.
they're still there. Well, she passed away. She was 96 or something when she finally passed a year or so ago.
Okay.
But my aunt Annabelle. So and then one of my cousins, Bounty Tank, uh, he has a show there where he's a bounty hunter.
Okay.
He's in Cleveland. He's our cousin, our
Okay.
second cousin. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm very familiar with Cleveland and would love to come to perform.
Now I think it's amazing. I think you have led and you continue to lead a beautiful career. Um, I also was going to ask you. I know that obviously you started off with gospel, and then there was the song, the obviously the song that kind of got you into secular music. What was that like for your mom? To see you move to secular music. Like, what was the thought?
Man, once we finally did, and especially once we were with Philly International, and You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else came out, and we were all of a sudden the darlings of R&B. You couldn't tell her nothing. She was our biggest fan. She was like every she I mean, you would not have known that this woman, just 4 or 5 years be prior to that was like, I don't think y'all need to be doing this, just stick with the Lord. She was our biggest fan when You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else came
Yeah,
out.
it, it's something about that song, and just I guess the universality of it, and
And,
everybody really being able to get into that song. Like I'll sing that song like nobody's business in the car.
you know,
Like, you see people riding down the highway and just belting songs out and singing,
right.
and that's
And the
like one of
audience,
the songs that
the
will have
audience, yeah. When
yeah,
I say you're gonna make me love somebody else, if what, then everybody, the whole audience, you keep on treating me, and that,
right.
and I love that. I
Now I
love
love
that.
that song. I love artists who are able to flip between they can do a gospel album, and then they can do a secular album, and they go out and tour and they do different shows. And I mean, you have the Cocos, you have Fantasia. Fantasia is actually my cousin, um, and I mean so many other artists who can do that. So I've always loved that about artists and how they
Yeah.
kind of flip back and forth. And
Oh yeah, absolutely, and even jazz. Because if on some of our albums, especially um, the which one? That was the third album, the one that Nights Over Egypt is
yeah,
on.
I was gonna
Get
say
as
Nights
much
Over
love as you can. There's Grover Washington. There's a song called oh, what is it? Grover Washington is playing. Say it's gonna last forever. Um, oh my goodness, it just slipped my mind, but he's playing on there. Oh, Love Don't Ever Say Goodbye. That's the one. That's the song that Dexter Wansell and even Nights Over Egypt has a jazzy feel
Yeah,
to
it does.
it. In fact, Brenda and I did not even want to do that song. The reason, thank God for Valerie, because she insisted. We really thought coming off of by the time that third album came out, we had had hits like "You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else," "Dance Turn to Romance," "I Just Love the Man," and so Brenda and I, we considered ourselves just hardcore R&B.
Yeah,
Uh, and so when they presented that song to us, we were like, no, we don't want to do that. That's gonna make us, sound too jazzy. Valerie's like,
yeah,
no, it won't. This song is just so different. And so once we sat and talked with them and started playing around with how we could really do a great job on such a beautiful track. I mean, that music on Nights Over Egypt, and then the lyrics. And so we sat down and we said, well, you know what? Let's try something different. Shirley, you won't be leading. um, we won't be doing any step outs. We're just going to use our unisons and harmonies as the lead voice. And man, did it work, because that song now all over the world. That's why I've been able to go to places like Japan and
right.
Portugal and France. And I just did an interview, interview the other day with a guy from Budapest that wants me to come to Budapest before the end of the year. And I'm like, Budapest, wow. So, and it's because of that song. Well, others too, but that song in particular. And then
Mhm.
you have your young artists, when people like Anderson Pack, uh, D Nice, they all tell me that song was so impactful in their lives, and young
Mhm.
people are listening to it. People call me, I just heard Nights Over Egypt. I was on the elevator in this
Yeah,
building, so and so. So it's been a song that has just gifted us over and over and over again.
absolutely. And just as I mentioned before, I knew of it. Once I bought that album from Faith Evans, and she sampled it for one of her songs.
Right,
Um,
and it's in the book of Clarence now. In
yeah,
fact, I got to call them to see where my check is. I keep saying, Jay Z, where my check? But no, no, we do, yeah, we do have one coming for that, and
no, that's beautiful.
oh yeah, a lot of people have put it in. Spike Lee had it in his one of his shows, and I got a check for that. So keep on putting them in these shows. It's fine with
Right,
me.
right. I mean, but what what's beautiful as well, even with the backstory behind putting that song together, is it shows what a force you ladies were, and that it wasn't just one who was kind of making all the decisions, and kind of figuring out what you were going to do as a group. Like
Oh
you had
yeah,
your
no,
input, Brenda had her input, Valerie
oh
had
yeah.
her. Like, I
Yeah,
think that's amazing.
in our heyday, it was when we were all on the same
Right.
page.
Right.
That's why we were so successful. The minute that kind of bond broke is when the problems started coming in.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
for
But
those
I think
first,
that I was just gonna say, I think that that comes, with a lot of groups, just because, even, when you're putting projects out, I mean, you go for so long, and then each person kind of gets, different goals and,
yeah,
different ideas of things that
because
they
you
want
grow
to do.
up. We were
Absolutely.
young. We were
Absolutely.
young. And as we started growing up, and started becoming interested in, maybe becoming moms, maybe, different relationships,
Hmm.
things change.
Yeah.
And your oneness that we had as a group for those first three albums, they
Hmm.
change,
Yeah.
because of the fact that everybody's desires as far as where we wanted to go, it became more individual, and instead of together like it had been.
Absolutely. But hopefully, as I really listen to it all, and just with the things that I know, I'm hopeful that you can really take from it that, again, you encouraged, you inspired, and you helped so many individuals who want to do this, and specifically women who
Oh
are in
yes.
groups. Like, you've
Yeah.
helped a lot of them really figure out their way, and they really are really running on the knowledge and the information that you ladies put out here. Because even when you look at the Destiny's Childs, and they've had their split because of issues, and then
Right.
they've had their split just because they're growing and they're doing their own thing. But if you look in the last couple months, they are still able to bring it back together, even all of them. So, the three, and then the two who weren't there for so long,
Right.
you still bring it back together, and they can be in unison and work together. And that's something that you ladies laid the foundation for. I mean, obviously there's other people who laid part of that foundation too, but you
And
ladies are there.
it is such an honor when these young women that have become uh, superstars, stars in their own right, like Mary J. Blige. When she tracked me down through my booking agent. She was telling me, because she had a breakfast for all of us that performed that Strength of a Woman night for Essence in
Mhm.
2017. The next day, she had a breakfast for us at her hotel. And when she knew that I was there, because I had never met her before, she she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to see your show last night." She said, "But I heard you were terrific." And she said, "I just have to let you know that you and your sisters were such an influence on me." And then at my show Sunday, Karen White came out, and she was telling me, she said, "Oh, when we were young, uh my friends and I, we would all have our hairbrushes singing 'I Just Love the Man,' or 'You Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else.' We were the Jones Girls." And in Vogue, uh they found they I just did Soul Train with them, and they got on and said congratulations for
Yeah.
45 years on Instagram, singing "You Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else," and thanking me for the amazing music that my sisters and I did. So when those girls come and tell me that, it just makes me feel so good. And I know Brittany and Valerie have to feel that too.
Yeah. And you see how big I smiled when you mentioned Karen White, and when you mentioned In Vogue. And I mean,
Yeah,
I have to say, in full transparency mode, I was like 12, like 12,
yeah,
like rocking out to their music. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, I just like you're really part of a school of music that can never be forgotten. I think that you have done amazing, obviously in your career. And again, I'm just as excited now as I was when we started this conversation. And I'm grateful, because this is, I was just telling somebody yesterday, I'm like, we say we're booked and busy all the time. And I'm booking all these different interviews and whatnot. And then I was just like, I'm tired. Like, there's so much going on. And I got this stream tomorrow with Shirley Jones. And then like, really quickly, I just said, but I'm not complaining. Because listen, this is what I have prayed for. Like, this is what I've
Hey,
been praying for my
and once it
entire
happens,
life. And I'm
yeah,
46. Like,
yeah.
I've been praying for this. So, like, to be in this place, to have the blessing, like the blessing and the honor of connecting with you and just being able to hear, a lot of the past stories from Detroit, and for you coming into that.
You weren't even born when our first album came out.
I
Because that's
feel like I was.
45, yeah. Yeah, well, you were a year old, huh?
Yeah, I was born in 77. So,
Oh, seven,
um,
okay. Because this album came out in 79. So you were a
but
baby. Yeah.
but I can tell you with a great deal of certainty that I probably knew some of the music probably when I was 3, because like again, there's celebrities in my family who are in the industry, so that kind of trickled down to everybody else. And
In
like,
the family, yeah.
my mother lived her life by music. So I remember the 8-track player that she had. Like,
Yeah.
she lived by music, and my father lived by music. So like, I can sing every word to you from Keith Sweat's Make It Last Forever album, or the albums or the music before that. And everybody's like, well, how do you know? Because this is all my father listened to when I was
Yeah.
growing up.
Because music is a healer.
Yeah,
Music, especially good music, is a healer. And we need more of it. We really do. We need
absolutely.
more quality music. That's one of the things I insisted on every song on this album. Uh, there's live musicians playing.
And
Uh,
I love hearing live music.
yes, yes, and I wanted that feel for the album, because the Jones Girls became known for real solid albums that you don't have to pick up the needle and skip around.
Right.
That people used to say about our albums, you could put it on and let it ride, because every song brought you a beautiful story. And so that's what I wanted for this album. And that's
Yeah.
what a lot of people tell me. They said, this album, man, I'm telling you, you got to go listen to 7, 8, 9, and 10.
I
Because
am. And I tell you,
if you're like you said, you stuck on 1 through
I
6.
swear, I swear at the end of this call, I'm starting with number 7. I'm
Yeah.
not going. I'm not going to go back to number 4 and number 5.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
going
I'm
to do it.
telling you, on 7, there's this young sax player from Berkeley School of Music. She's a young lady playing sax like nobody's business on
Yeah.
Fantasize. Um, and it's just, the song. And then Valerie's son, who's an excellent piano player. Well, we all play piano, but he really plays, and he's a
Yeah.
producer and writer.
I love the fact that it's still a family business.
Oh
I
yeah, and
love
then
the fact that
Cam,
it's still.
my son Cam,
Yeah.
uh, he's got to step out and co-wrote with me
Yeah.
on this. I know,
Listen.
yeah.
I heard the vocals.
But
I
hey,
heard the vocals and the rap. So
yeah,
I.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's come. It's Jones Connection, Jones Girls, Jones Legacy
Yeah.
lives on and will continue to live on.
Absolutely. I caught when you said pick up the needle, and I said it's a lot of people on here who are going to be like, "What?"
Right,
Like, because they don't know
but,
nothing about the 33,
right,
25, and all of that
right.
stuff.
But vinyl's coming back though. I have a room upstairs. I have a room upstairs that it's my reading and relaxation room, where
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's in there. The particular one, it has Bluetooth, so I can still play other stuff,
yeah.
but I don't have anything in there but that turntable. And I'm doing a special uh limited run on vinyl
Yeah.
starting March 15th for the album. It's coming out, a limited run, and already it's sold. Those are sold out because you can only
Yeah.
get them through my website or through somebody that knows that it's coming out. And already the limited run is pretty
Mhm.
much sold out.
I can
So
imagine.
it's coming back.
There's a couple of events that I go out and I usually do media. I go out and do like red carpet coverage and whatnot. Actually, out in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and there's a guy. I can't remember the name of his shop. I know I have his card somewhere, but there's a guy that comes out to the event because they usually have it like a, where people can, it's like a vendor setup. So people can
Right. Yeah.
set up their businesses and whatnot. And there's a guy who comes out and he has nothing but vinyls.
Vinyls. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's actually still a genuine love for that, and people
Oh,
are
the
usually looking for that.
quality of the sound
Oh
of
yeah,
vinyl. Oh my God, there you can't the nothing compares to that. That vinyl sound.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. My mother was on it between the 33s, the 45s, and then she had the 8-track player, and
Yeah.
man, we was listening to some of everything, the Commodores, and
Oh yeah. Everybody, you had
I
to.
know about that stuff. I know about that music and the music of your time far more than I know about today's music. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that speaks volumes. Like quality never dies.
It
Quality
never dies. And we
never.
never thought here, I do. I never I did. I didn't. When back in the day, we were just recording, having fun, making sure that we our songs, whether we were singing background for Aretha or Teddy or doing one of our own records, we just wanted to make sure that our sound was as close to perfect as you could get. And we worked hard at that. We worked extremely hard at that. Some of my fondest memories with my sisters is when it was just the three of us creating and how we were going to do this background for this person or for us, what because we created the Kenny gave us the reins to create all those harmonies and stuff on all the songs.
Right.
So
Here's a question. I know that you and your sisters, you sang with your mom, when you first got your start, when you, got moving with this. Did mom ever come back and sing with you ladies?
she did.
Okay.
In 1993, we were in London at the Dominion Theater, and there are people now that were at that show. My mom and godmother who played an organ for my mom. They brought an organ out there on that stage because we sold out. It was like I think 8,000 seater. We sold 2 nights out. And yes, my mom came on there. I got pictures of that
Yeah.
where she just tore it up. Yes. And a couple other times she would come out too and just shut it down every time.
Yeah. Now I think that would have been beautiful to see.
Oh
Um,
God, yes.
yeah, that would have been beautiful to see. But I appreciate you so much more than you could ever know for this conversation.
Well,
Um,
I
yeah,
appreciate you and thank you for inviting me. And
absolutely.
hey, we'll see each other. We will.
Yeah,
We'll see each
we
other
we
because I'm
will.
out there.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I travel to the Atlanta area actually a lot. So I mean,
Oh yeah, well hit us up. You got cams, hit us up and we can hook up or go
yeah,
get something to
I,
eat or something, because
yeah,
when
that's
I'm
my
not
thing.
yeah, when I'm not on the road, I'm at home at peace.
Right,
Because
right.
it's just so much going on in this
Yeah,
world. And
absolutely.
so
I, um,
I do go out every now and then to different restaurants or
yeah,
cam but yeah, but get me out my house.
yeah,
If you could come and hook up and get out the house for a minute.
yeah. I think that would be beautiful. I had actually moved to the Columbus, Georgia area for about a year. Uh,
Okay.
and then my son was 11 at that time, so he was like crazy homesick and wanted to get back to Ohio. And I made him finish the school year, but then once the school year was up, I kind of had in my mind that okay, he'll do the school year, he'll make friends, and then he'll be like, "No, I'm fine, we can stay." Well, like the last day of school, he's like, "When are we leaving?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So we ended
Yeah.
up basically moving back to Ohio.
Moving back. Yeah.
My publicist, I've actually been with her for maybe about 7, 8 years. So she's actually still in the Atlanta area. So
Okay.
she usually will find me, a lot of different events and things like that. And I usually will come down there. Or if the award shows are going on, I'll come down that way.
Come down. Yeah.
And I mean, it's for whatever reason I like driving. So I mean, it's only a 10-hour drive. So I'm down there quite a bit.
Oh yeah. You like me because we used to drive from here to Detroit
Okay.
dropping our Cam when they were little. It was for me and four of my girlfriends all had boys. Boy, the day school was out, about 2 days later, we would load those boys up and take them to grandma in Detroit. 12-hour drive, and we did not
Yeah.
mind. We were driving. So, and I heard my husband would always say, wow, it took you no time to get there to drop him off, but then it took y'all forever to get back home because we be
Because you
so
stop
glad that
waiting.
we were kid free for the summer.
Yeah.
We stop and hang out with friends, and boy, those were the days when but now Cam is 30. He just turned 35, so I got
Okay.
a grown son and two beautiful grandbabies now.
That's that's beautiful. Mine is turning 18 this summer, so
Oh wow,
kind of
okay.
it's kind of weird being in that place. Like no more sporting events, no more band, no more. So
I
I'm like
know
I'm
you
halfway
miss
sad because I don't have anything to go to.
yeah
Um,
you
but
miss
then
that.
yeah, but then the other piece of it is just like wow, like he's graduating high school, he's accepted into college already,
Oh, wonderful.
he just turned out to be a really really good kid. But I'm like, God, I kind of want a baby again for whatever reason.
Right.
So
Well,
I,
my grandbabies, I just love them. They're like,
yeah.
I got 5, 6, 3, and 10 months.
Oh wow. Oh, so
Yeah.
you're working, you're busy.
Oh yeah. I tell you, when they over here, oh my God, there's no peace and quiet like you hear now. And one
I'm
of them
sure.
will be over here tomorrow, so it'll be a whole different atmosphere.
Nah, that's super cool. You said your next show, you're back in Atlanta when?
June 21st for the city of Fairburn.
Okay.
One is
It's
one of
funny.
the
I love Fairburn.
yeah.
I was trying to. We moved to Columbus, and then I had in my mind that okay, we'll stay here for a little while, and then we're gonna make our way up to Fairburn. I like
Yeah,
the Fairburn.
yeah, because they have this thing called Third Fridays or something in the
Okay.
summertime, and it's the city provides it, and it's open, and be tons of people out there, vendors. So I'm doing June 21st
Okay.
for the
I
city of
know I'm gonna
Fairburn.
be. I know I'll be in Atlanta the first weekend in June. Um,
Okay.
but then I may have to. I may buy some tickets and actually come to that show on the 21st.
Well, tickets are free because it's the city. It's a
Oh,
city event. So you just
oh,
have to go online and get your tickets. And yeah, it's a city event.
I think I'm
So
gonna. I listen. I try to find any and every reason to get to Atlanta. So
well,
I think
come
I'm
on
gonna.
down. That's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be a
do
show
that.
with my band. In fact, I gotta call my MD now to make sure that the all the guys are locked in for that date because my band is in Chattanooga, so they have to
Okay.
drive down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any type of final comments? Anything that you really wanted to get out there with this conversation, or that you're putting out as you do your interviews?
Yeah, I just want people to love more, smile more, because it's just so much going on. So many people are depressed. Um,
Absolutely.
and listen to music and share love. Don't don't hate. Um, I tell people now in my show, and I say, and do you get enough love? I said, when I was singing that song, do you get enough love? Now I have to ask you, do you give enough love? Give more love
Absolutely.
to strangers, to people that you outside of your bubble, outside of your family, and get to know each other. Because once we do that, we'll realize that, hey, we're all in this together and we
Yeah,
have got to be
absolutely.
together.
Absolutely.
And hit me up, and on social media it's Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls.
Yeah,
So just hit me up.
I'm there.
Support- the new tribute album is streaming everywhere. The next single is the first one with actual Brenda and Valerie and myself, Baby Don't Go Yet.
Okay.
So yeah, and so just love each other, and hit me up if you need somebody to talk to. Just hit me up because I'm all about love. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Cam was actually on here. I don't know if he's still there, but thank you as well if you are. I think this was amazing. Again, this was like
Yeah, he was involved in that AT&T. Uh,
oh the
when
outage.
The outage, yeah. He
Okay. Oh
can,
wow.
yeah. So if he, I think he could only do something with Wi-Fi. I'm on
Okay.
AT&T, but mine wasn't affected, thank heavens.
Okay.
So
And I'm actually on T-Mobile, but some people said that T-Mobile was affected.
T-Mobile Spectrum, they had a little bit, but I was watching the news before I got on. Well, Cam had called me early this morning. All he could do was FaceTime because
Okay.
his phone was affected. Mine wasn't.
Okay.
So
Um,
hey Cam, I'll talk to you later then.
yeah, thank you both. Like, I actually have a segment on one of my podcasts called Bucket List, where I'm, really aiming to connect with the people that, who I've really wanted to talk to and who I feel have been instrumental in getting me to this place where I am. So I am tremendously grateful to you. This is not the only time that we're talking, so we will definitely do this again.
Absolutely. And I'll see you in June. You're gonna come,
Yeah,
you
we
be at
will.
that
I'm
show.
gonna get on their website and actually get tickets so that I can be down there. I got a reason to come on June 21st.
June
So
21st.
I
All
will be
righty.
there, and hopefully I'll get back home after that because every time I get there I find a reason to stay an extra
To
day or
stay
so.
longer.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're
You have a great
welcome.
day. And
You
then
too.
this
Take
week,
care.
this will
All
continue
righty.
streaming on all the platforms that we ran, and then I'll also push it out, further across the internet.
All right, great. Thank you so much, James.
You're welcome. You have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.